ASEAN defense chiefs met with the counterparts from partner countries, the US, China, Japan, South Korea, and Australia. They called for a free and open Indo-Pacific amid heightened tensions in the region and beyond.
这是一次以东盟为中心，汇聚各方智慧，共同努力维护地区稳定和发展的一次重要的会议。我愿借此机会，与各位同事们一道深入的探讨交流，共同携手推动着地区的合作与发展。
The talks put Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun in the same room as his US counterpart, a day after he refused a request by Lloyd Austin to meet on the sidelines of the meeting. Mr. Austin says he regrets Mr. Dong's decision, calling it a setback for the whole region. And for more, Olivia Siong joins us live from Beijing. Olivia, thank you for joining us. Now, what does Dong Jun's refusal to meet with Mr. Austin signify?
Has called his Chinese counterpart decision unfortunate. The Chinese Defense Ministry has now hit back, saying that the failure to hold the meeting between the defense chiefs is, quote, entirely the responsibility of the U.S. side, adding that the U.S., quote, cannot undermine China's core interest on Taiwan while engaging with the Chinese military as if nothing is wrong. It also called on the U.S. to immediately correct its mistakes. Now, just last month, we know that Beijing was incredibly angry when the U.S. approved a $2 billion worth of arms sales by the U.S. to Taiwan, which also included an advanced missile defense system for the first time. And also, if you recall, over the weekend when Chinese President Xi Jinping sat down with his outgoing U.S. counterpart, Joe Biden, on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Peru, he did say that while he does not see a need for both sides to engage in a new Cold War, that there were 4 red lines that the U.S. should not cross, one of them being over the self-ruled island of Taiwan. Now, analysts also say that even as both sides have tried to mentalize on the military front, resuming military dialogue this year, it would seem that China would want to hold meetings on its own terms. Also, analysts saying that with the incoming Trump administration, China wanting to set the tone for what's to come, sending out that warning shot. Kok Eng.
Now, Olivia, could the lack of dialogue between the U.S. and China at this meeting hinder progress among ASEAN defense ministers?
Well, certainly that would be a concern for ASEAN countries, looking at what's happening, especially as tensions continue to rise in the disputed South China Sea, where several Southeast Asian states have overlapping claims with China, and more frequent clashes between China and the Philippines. Vietnam also accusing China of assaulting its fishermen in the waters. Now, China, on its part, has been angered by the U.S. and its allies conducting drills in the area. It says that the U.S. is meddling in regional territorial disputes. Now, one expert also told me that for ASEAN, one of the things that it prides itself on is being able to bring different countries, including China and the U.S., major powers, to the discussion table. But now that China and the U.S. are not talking, that is going to be of concern for ASEAN and what it means for ASEAN centrality. Have a listen.
All this is predicated on a view that others have an interest in engaging with each other and wanting to use ASEAN as a platform to do so. Now, when it comes to issues like the South China Sea, like the Mekong and other contentious areas, to the extent that other actors don't feel so much a need to sort of use ASEAN to convene to meet others at ASEAN, that will lower, perhaps diminish, the role that ASEAN plays in the region as an organization that sort of brings different actors together.
Now, this may also have implications for the code of conduct in the South China Sea that's been discussed for years between China and ASEAN. The goal was to have the code completed by 2026, but observers tell me that with China and the US, tensions expected to rise, especially next year with the Trump administration coming in, that could prove even more difficult. Back to you.
We want to thank you for that report. Olivia Siong joining us from Beijing.